Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Syracuse. Nobody brought my rear view mirror with them. I need a rear view mirror. So we have come together as a family today. And I know we've come here as we are. So let's all get a seat and get ready for today. Get ready for whatever it is you've come here to receive, whatever you've come here to give. We have come together as a family. We have come here as we are. We have come with arms wide open. We have gathered here in love. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof and shout the praise. Spirit is in this place. We sing in celebration. We sing with words of praise. Oh, we affirm our life as sacred. We declare that peace is here. Let me hear y'all sing it. Here we go. Ready? Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Yes. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof and shout the praise. Spirit's in this place. We have come together as a family. Oh, we have come here as we are. We have come together with open. We have gathered here in love.
Can't you feel it, Spirit, in this place? Doesn't it feel wonderful? Welcome to Unity of Syracuse, and a warm welcome to all of you here in the sanctuary and all of you who are here in live streaming land, or love streaming land, as we say. My name is Patsy Scala, and I'm your platform assistant for today. And I would like us to open with a reading of the Daily Word, which very appropriately today is gratitude. As I embrace gratitude, I am filled with an awareness of greatness. It might seem tempting to think that we need items and events to be grateful for before we can feel genuine gratitude. However, Unity Minister Eric Butterworth suggested that it's possible to experience the feeling of gratitude without needing a special reason to be grateful. Just feel it, he advised, adding that as we simply allow ourselves to feel gratitude, the flow of intelligence and love and peace and power come through us and manifest as us effectively. The practice of gratitude, Butterworth explained, gets us into full of greatness consciousness. As I generate gratitude, it lifts my heart, quickens my mind and body, and centers me in the flow of good that is present everywhere. And from Acts chapter 2, verse 28, you have made known to me the ways of life. You will make me full of gladness with your presence. So I was thinking about this and thinking about Thanksgiving and thinking about all that I have to be grateful for. And also thinking about the core values that we talked about in the past 9 weeks. And deciding that if we truly hold gratitude in our hearts, we cannot help but be inspiring and expressing truth and loving and compassionate and forgiving and all of the other things that are our core values. So at the basis of all of our core values is this gratitude that we celebrate on Thanksgiving. So as we get together with friends and family and loved ones, and as we eat whatever it is we eat for Thanksgiving as a feast, let's make it into a true festival of gratitude. Let's stand in grace and in love. So at this point, the children would be going to YFM, but they're downstairs, so I just want to remind all of you who brought children that you are responsible for them once the service is over. And now I invite you to stand and say our statement of being as you simply give a sacred, grateful greeting to those who are around you. You don't need to move around. We just give the sacred greeting. Well, there's usually music. Okay, never mind. It's okay. All right, while you're standing, if you would join me in our statement of being. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this sacred life, sacred love, and perfect substance.
So we're going to put a little love in our heart today, right? That's why we're here. I think you all know the start of this one, right? Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. Whoa, you want the world to know we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better for who? Place for you and me. You just wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. Whoa, I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart. a place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Yeah.
Thank you, celebration team. And now it's time for our announcements. There will be a town hall meeting this afternoon after the service. We urge you all to attend, and believe me, there's plenty of food downstairs. You will not go hungry. As Leland said last night, you're going to have to force yourself not to be stuffed. Now, the holiday craft fair will be December 8th and December 15th, before and after the service. And if you have any questions, see Mina Bradley Cogger. Mina, would you raise your hand? Or Patty Oatman. Okay. All right. Now, this is very important. The ministerial search team has a questionnaire that has been available for you. Blanks are in the back of the sanctuary and in the bookstore. Please, there is a box behind you in the back of the church. Ed is holding it up. Please put them into that box, and the due date is next Sunday. Next Sunday, okay? Not 2 weeks from now. Okay. Saturday, December 7th, we will be decorating the church all day. Now, I need to make some corrections, okay? This is interesting. If you read the announcements in your bulletin, you know that there is a Christmas tree, a lighting ceremony on December 24th. That's a very sacred Christmas Eve ceremony. And there is a burning bowl ceremony on New Year's Eve at 7 o'clock, okay? Now, bowl has no E in it, as it does in your bulletin. But just remember, the bulletin was written this month, and the power of the month is elimination, and I'm not going to say anymore, okay? At this point, I don't know if this is the best time to welcome today's guests or not, but at least you know we're a church that laughs, right? I would like to welcome warmly today's guests. Do we have anyone who is attending for the very first time today? Okay, we welcome you both. We welcome you both. We have a packet with a gift of a candle representing the light of spirit that shines within you. And attached to your welcome packet is a yellow slip. Please fill it out. Fill it out more accurately than our announcements were filled out. And know that downstairs in our bookstore, we have an additional gift for you. And we invite you to join us for fellowship and love and laughter downstairs. And we aren't always this silly. So if I could have actually, maybe we are, but that's beside the point. If we could have our basic principles on the screen. These are the principles by which we live. Are there any two of you who have experienced the results of these principles in the past couple of weeks? Carol, wait for the microphone, please.
Well, I believe this would be, we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Yesterday, we were at home, and I looked out my window, and somebody was walking their dog, and they went to the bathroom on our beautiful grass that grows tall.
They were
And
just,
I had cut
they
it
were
down,
just expressing
you know.
the power of the month.
And so anyway, I was okay with that. I went out, the woman was gone, and I was going to be real nice and say, please don't let your dog do that. It's going to kill my plant, okay? Then I was coming back home, and I was in my truck, and I just rolled my window down, and I went crazy on this person because they were doing the same thing with their dogs, and they had two. And he turned around very calmly after I was done being very upset and said, it won't happen again. And boy, did I settle down, because he was very calm about who he was, and I was like a maniac, kind of, because I and talk about practice. I'm still practicing, and I'll be practicing for a long time after that one. Thank you.
You know, that's good. Bridget has another one, but while Bridget gets the microphone, I want to say that we practice these principles. We don't know them inherently every moment of every day. We practice the principles. And so long as we do this, that's what unity is all about. Okay, Bridget.
I have two things. The first was just to add to the announcements. If anyone finds themselves alone or really doesn't want to cook for a few people in their home on Thanksgiving Day, we are holding a vegan Friendsgiving from 2 to 5:30 on Thursday. Just thought I'd put that out there. And downstairs here, 2 to 5:30. Just bring a dish to share that doesn't contain any animal or their products. But to the 5 basic principles, my mother has had mental health illness my whole life. She'd lock herself in the house and wouldn't go anywhere. If we did go for a drive in the car, she refused to go into a restaurant, kind of things like that. And my dad passed about 11 years ago, this coming month. And after that, we kind of, she was on her own, and we took her under our wing, and she did okay for a little while and went back to, her ways of just being negative and secluded and things. But I kind of gave up on her in the beginning, and then Ken and I started to hold her in prayer in our minds and wish that she had a better life, and she lived life. And in this last 5 months, she's just become a completely different person. She wants to go shopping with us. She wants to go out to eat. She wants to come over. She's interacting with my kids. She's smiling, laughing. And my kids initially were scared of her because she would sit there and stare at the floor and not speak. So she's like a completely different person, and I just want to say, don't ever give up hope on somebody. There is always hope.
Thank you. And Ed, I think Barb Lane had one too. You had your hand up, right? Well, you might as well do it. But I think that's it. I think that's it for...
So,
Okay, there's one, okay.
so I'm a new kid, and I'm trying to figure out how all this works. And I've been going to a retreat center, and I've started a 6-month program. And I had to, they asked me to, create a statement about my intention for the next 6 months. And it became, I am the I am, and I welcome my fullness. And I came home from that, and I drove by our sign out in front, and Ray's speaking about fullness today, and I was like, cool.
And I know this is unusual, but we do have one in the back. So it is unusual that we have 4 expressions of these principles. We usually have 2. But as the holidays near, I think we become more and more aware of our principles and of our spirituality. So I think it's very appropriate that we have more than the usual 2. So we'll have the 4. Go ahead. Thank you. You can stand up.
I was in a doctor's office waiting for my appointment, and kitty corner for me was an elderly woman, and which seemed to be her daughter, which it was. And the woman, as sitting there listening to their conversation, she looked like she had her arm in a sling, and she said to her been in here before? And her daughter was so very nice and calm, and yes, you have. And they had continued the conversation, and she was like, well, wasn't I in here with such and such? And then for that split second, she remembered, oh, she passed away. And then, you know, she had some sadness about her. And then her daughter took out her phone, and she was showing her pictures of different people in the family. And I noticed each and every time she went through a certain situation with her mother, she was so patient and so respectful of the fact that that's my mom, and I'm going to treat her as such, you know. And then I started to think, oh man, you know, this woman is sitting here next to a person that brought her into this world and now is going through her own trials and tribulations, and her daughter is too. But in the same instance of everything, she's being so patient with her. So they kept on going through different little scenarios. So they came out and they called me. And before I walked away, her daughter and I locked eyes. And I looked at her and I said, "You're doing a great job." And she just looked at me like, you know, I really needed that, you know, thank you. But she wasn't really, you know, did something to show that, you know, there are a lot of different things and aspects in the world, but there is always hope. Yes. And it was a wonderful thing to see that she, you know, had that love there for her mother, and that she continued to, you know, respect her wherever she was.
Thank you so much. Put a little love in your heart, right? So now's the prayer portion of our service. Will the prayer chaplains who are serving today please stand? Okay. Never mind the fact that no prayer chaplain stood. There will be 2 prayer chaplains, one up here and one down in the fellowship hall. We are here every Sunday from 10:45 to 10:55 to pray with you before the service, and then we're here, up here, and downstairs after the service to pray with you, either up here or in the fellowship hall. Unity was founded on prayer. At Silent Unity, prayer has been going on 24/7, 365 days a year for 130 years. 130 years of constant, continual prayer. If you have not yet placed your prayer as a written prayer in the prayer box, you can place it as an intention right now with your mind and your heart. Or you can do so at the end of the service. We hold these prayers in absolute confidence for 30 days, and then we send them to Silent Unity where they're held for 30 days again. Now, will you please bring the prayer box up? We have our prayer chaplain, Sibby Morrow, bringing the prayer box up.
By the way, you're signed up to be prayer chaplain today. We are in a fine humor today, aren't we? I think it was all the food last night. Oh, but just we take a moment right now, right here. And with one breath in, we center ourselves in spirit. The spirit in which we live and move and have our very being, always present, eternal and infinite, within and all around us, in every person, place, situation, and circumstance. And so we offer all of these prayer intentions into that divine heart of spirit, knowing that answers to every perceived problem or decision are already made, that the great good is flowing, the abundant good from source, the great fullness of life itself is being affirmed through every prayer and every answer. And so we give thanks and our hearts overflow with gratitude and bless us and each other. And we say amen.
Sing this with us if you would. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Am I on, Tommy? Ah, there we go. My name is Ray Stoffel, and it's my pleasure to be your speaker this morning. If you've been paying attention this morning, I don't have to speak. You've heard what I'm going to say, so this will be a recap. I'm going to start by setting an intention. It is said that someone could be given an entire field of roses and only see the thorns. Yet another person could be given a single weed and only see the wildflower in it. What I want you to leave here knowing this morning is it's not what we see, but how we see that will matter. Now, I've been picked on a little bit this morning because I did title my talk Great Fullness. It was because it was a play on words, but also because I knew I'd be here last night with all of you celebrating Thanksgiving. And I knew around 7 o'clock that's what I'd feel, that great fullness that borders on discomfort. Okay. I know I wasn't alone because so many of you came and celebrated together. So thank you for anyone that helped make that happen. No, I'm off. Where'd it go, Tom? Any ideas? I'll move. Oh, no. Miracles. So maybe you felt that great fullness too. That place we get to when we've had our fill, when we are satiated. And then we sit down and we lean back in our chairs and we moan a little bit. Okay? And then our brains go, oh, I'm just going to move, Tom. And then our brains go, pie. I just want a sliver of pie. And in that moment, the great fullness is not enough. We're hungry again. We're always left a little wanting. So my topic is gratitude. And my first observation is going to be that it's going to be tough for us to be truly grateful if our minds are always focused on wanting more. Because gratitude exists right here in this moment. And when it is present, it requires our complete and immediate attention. It doesn't ask a lot of our time, it just takes a second to be grateful. But when we find that gratitude is present, it asks us to be totally present as well. In The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, he says this: your total presence is required, okay? Otherwise, you will see but not see. You will hear, but not hear. So now I'm going to take a step backwards. And I'm going to tell you what I've discovered about what gratitude is not as I prepared for this talk. It is not one of Unity's 12 powers. But Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founders, they wrote extensively about the need for a grateful heart. In fact, Myrtle wrote this: Thanksgiving is not just about this upcoming holiday. Thanksgiving should happen in your home every single day. It's that important. And yet it's not a power. As Patsy said earlier, gratitude is not one of our core values. We've spent the last 8 weeks looking at the core values, and it wasn't up there. And that surprised me a little bit, folks, because we're a pretty grateful bunch of people, I think. Most of us that speak at one time or another have stood here and said to you, we are so grateful to you for all that you do for us and for this spiritual community. And that is a heartfelt sentiment. We truly believe that. Later this morning, we're going to say, thank you, God. You are my source. And that will be heartfelt. I know that to be true. And yet gratitude did not make the top 10 list of our core values. Gives you something to think about. The fact that gratitude didn't make either list says one of two things to me. It could be that gratitude is so prevalent in our lives that it would be redundant to list it. Now, don't we say thank you at least a dozen times a day for a kindness shown or for a compliment that's been given? But the question will be, are we truly present to those moments? Or are they just reactions? Have we just been taught to say thank you because then we're polite? Wouldn't most of us feel a little upset if people thought that we were ungrateful? Of course I'm grateful. It doesn't need to be said. Or this could be true. Gratitude, moments of true gratitude, are so precious and so rare that we don't list it because it would be too difficult for us to explain them. In Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth, he tells us that gratitude is not a reactive emotion, not an emotion. But Patsy just read from our daily word, the same Butterworth says this: feel it. Just feel it. So I thought we'd take a moment to try that. If you would find that place in yourself that is open and receptive and present to this moment. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Take that deep breath and let yourself remember. When's the last time you felt grateful? What does gratitude feel like? It is said, if there's 60 people here, I'll say this, if there's 60 people here, there's going to be 60 answers. Because I don't think gratitude always shows up the same. It can feel different every single time because gratitude can be situational. Have you ever known gratitude to show up as joy? Because they say that joy is a byproduct of gratitude. And yet, have you ever known gratitude to show up in such a way that it makes you weep? That it touches your heart with such tenderness that it takes your breath away? And how can one word be both? And if it's not an emotion, what is it that we feel? Have you ever looked for gratitude and felt nothing? Nothing. Because the wound was too deep or the heartbreak was too painful? Most of us have known that place, despair. And once we've lived through it, most of us have come to understand that it's gratitude that has led us out of that darkness into a ray of hope. Now, they say that the cure for any broken heart is to learn to risk more. But the human heart will not risk unless there's a little hope. Finally, according to Butterworth, gratitude is not for God. Not for God. And I quote from Spiritual Economics: you are not obligated to thank God for your life, your job, or your prosperity. Slide, please. However, there's always a however. Giving thanks is an important state of your consciousness that keeps you in the awareness of oneness with divine flow. It simply flows from within and becomes a causative energy. Gratitude is a causative energy, not a reactionary emotion, end quote. According to Butterworth, gratitude is a causative energy. Causative, it creates. And in this morning's reading, Butterworth says what it creates is a full of greatness consciousness. As a causative energy, I believe that this is the key to our third principle. This is the key to the principle that says through the power of our own minds, we will create our life experiences. But learning to use that key means that we must learn the difference between being grateful for versus being grateful from. So what's the difference? Well, for me, here's the difference. I can create grateful for. With these eyes, I can list the things I see. And in this picture, there's two things, me and my gratitude list. But there also exists the possibility that I'm going to be left wanting. Because when I look at my list, I might think, they, you, have so much more than me. In almost everything I read, it said that we need to learn how to be grateful for before we can understand being grateful from. So if making a list isn't enough, how do you get a grateful heart? Well, the Reverend Charlene Manuel says there's an art to it. And you can find her article on this month's Constant Contact page if you get that. Slide, please. There's an art to gratitude. There's a form, structure, a knack for growing it, developing it, and subsequently owning it as a way of life. Form, structure, development, things we can see. But owning it as a way of life is something we must be. So she gives us a couple exercises to do to practice, because we do practice here. So I'm going to put our affirmation right here in the middle of our talk, because the first thing she talks about is this affirmation. So next slide, please. I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed. Could you say that with me? I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed. And then she adds one word, when. I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed when. And she suggests that we complete that thought by attaching words or images to the end of that sentence that bring us to the fullness of our own lives. Not to attach to the thing, but attach to the experience of the thing. So I didn't quite understand that, so I had to go searching a little bit. And what I discovered was a little video by Eckhart Tolle, guy that wrote The Power of Now, and he talks about gratitude. And in it he says that when we are truly centered in gratitude, that what we are doing is acknowledging and blessing another life form, another human being, an animal, nature, the ceiling. For when we are totally present to it, what we are seeing is its beauty. So Manuel says, as her examples, I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed when I hold my grandson in my arms, the beauty of that child and of the human connection. When I see the sunset, the beauty of nature. When I dance and sing like nobody's watching, the beauty that is Charlene Manuel. Now, in doing this exercise, she says that we are giving form to our current goodness, but we are also investing in our future. Investing in our future goodness, because that is our third principle. We will attract into our lives those things that we hold in mind. So I'd like you to imagine for just a moment a day where you see the beauty of every person that you meet, in every place that you go. And here's the tough one. Imagine seeing the beauty of your own existence, the beauty of your Christ presence. Those are rare and precious moments. So I'd like to try that as well. If again, could you find that place within yourself that is open and receptive to hearing what you need to hear. And say quietly to yourself, I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed. I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed when. And let your mind and heart take you wherever you need to go. And find the beauty there. In what you do, realize that it is blessing you. If it is your tradition to do that around the table, what are you grateful for thing, maybe you should try this instead. Here's the however. However, as you are affirming for each one of your family members or guests the beauty that you see in them, you must look them in the eye. Your heart must take that risk. Now, the second part of our exercise is the acronym ART, A-R-T. Slide, please. The art of gratitude. Next part, please. A is for act as if. Act as if there's always something to be grateful for, regardless of the situation, she says. And she uses the Bible verse, in all things give thanks. And like I said earlier, she too recognizes that sometimes that's going to be really difficult to do because life can be difficult. It can be hard. Regardless of what is showing up in your life, she says, look for the smallest of things. Find something to be grateful for. Be grateful for the smallest of things, and then act as if. So we grow into it. R is for release. Let go of anything that keeps you from your current goodness. So resentment and regret, those things that keep us tied to our past. And I'm going to add fear because I think that that keeps us from our future, our goodness in the future. The law of prosperity tells us that we must learn to let go of anything that no longer serves us. And by doing that, we are making room for something new, for something better. So learn to release and let go. And finally, trust. Trust in divine order, trust in our intuition, trust in our higher selves, and trust that we will be able to get over any of those seeming obstacles. Art, the art of gratitude. Why do this? We'll do it for the joy of it. Slide, please. Marianne Williamson says that joy is what happens to us when we allow ourselves to recognize how good things really are. And my friends, I do not assume to know the circumstances or the stories of all of our lives. But I do know that when we put it into perspective, as a collective and as individuals, we truly are a blessed people. Now, these exercises are about being grateful for. What does it mean to be grateful from? For me, grateful from is grace. God's grace. Tapping me on the shoulder, telling me to pay attention, to listen, to see what is there. And with those eyes, I can feel the things I see. And in this picture, there's only one. There's only the great fullness. And when we come from that place, my friends, there is always enough. There is always enough time. There is always enough talent. And yes, there's even enough treasure. Because when we come from that place, we are connected to that divine flow, the divine flow of substance, of energy, of love. So when we come from that place, we can answer any call to love. We can give ourselves completely and never feel diminished. We can give away everything on our list and still know what great fullness is. That is the key to our third principle. That is the key to seeing the wildflower in the weed. I believe that there are moments in our lives where something so small can grab our attention in such a way that time stands still, just for a moment. It stops, so we will stop and pay attention and listen and see beauty and understand that gratitude is present. Know that grace is present and know that this moment is so precious and so rare that I will never be able to explain it to another human being. I will finish before meditation with a reading from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Zen masters use the word satori to describe a flash of insight, a moment of no mind and total presence. Although satori is not a lasting transformation, be grateful when it comes, for it gives you a taste of enlightenment. You may indeed have experienced it many times without knowing what it is or realizing its importance. Presence is needed to become aware of the beauty, the majesty, the sacredness of nature. Have you ever gazed up into the infinity of space on a clear night, awestruck by the absolute stillness and inconceivable vastness of it? Have you listened, truly listened, to the sound of a mountain stream in the forest or to the blackbird at dusk on a quiet summer night? To become aware of such things, the mind needs to be still. You have to put down for a moment your personal baggage of problems, of the past, of the future, of everything you know, of all of your knowledge. Otherwise, you will see but not see, hear but not hear. Your total presence is required. Beyond the beauty of the external forms, there is more here. Something that cannot be named, something ineffable, some deep inner holy essence. Whenever and wherever beauty is present, this inner essence shines through somehow. It only reveals itself to you when you are present. Could it be that this nameless essence and your presence are one and the same? Charles Fillmore used to sit every night and wait for God. Many of us spend time every day in meditation, waiting for God to show up. These moments that I'm talking about, that's God showing up. What do we do when we are given those moments? Well, I hope that you will find your own personal answer as we go into our time of meditation. So if you would find that quiet space again, where you are open and receptive to this moment. Enter into this place knowing that you will hear what it is you need to hear. And I will lead us into this time of reflection by sharing a poem by Mary Oliver called Praying. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be the weeds in a parking lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention. Then patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This is not a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. When we see through those eyes, there is only one. When we see through those eyes, we come to know we are gratefully and wonderfully blessed. And as you return yourself to this space, please know that I am gratefully and wonderfully blessed every time I am in your presence. Thank you. God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving.
And there is a part of you that is still needing something to feel grateful for. This is your song. You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkness. Night, it's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. Oh, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. And I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. Oh, and I will send out an army. I'll find you in the middle of your darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. Yes, and it is true, I will rescue you. Oh.
Good afternoon. So this is the last Sunday that we're working on release, and I could use some.
Yeah.
Today we went over the story of Joseph again, and how Joseph had to release any anger he had about what his brothers had done to him, and how he had to release any sadness he had about his original circumstances so that he could embrace his new position in Egypt, and so he could embrace the love for his family and getting back together with them and having an opportunity to break bread with them again and to have an awesome meal with them again. And so a little drama therapy today for the kids. What we did was everybody got to write on some toilet paper the thing that they would like to break free from or release or let go. And I figured it'd be easier to show you guys than to just explain that. So it was a revolution, and so we got the thing that I want to let go of is procrastination. So I'll just say that I am successful.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I feel better for it. Did you guys have anything you want to add?
No, not really. Just setting ourselves free, breaking free.